My family demanded I get back with my ex. When I refused, they started stalking and harassing me. A few weeks ago, my mom invited me over for lunch. Despite my reservations, I went. When I arrived, I found my sister, whom I'd been in no contact with for 6 years, and my ex, whom I broke up with 6 years ago. I tried to leave, but my sister's husband blocked the door, insisting I sit down. My sister told me they all felt I was making a mistake by being pregnant, and that it was their duty to prove my ex was the right man for me. They also believed my husband should sign over his parental rights to my ex. Before I could respond, my sister read a letter claiming my ex was always meant for me, and that I tore our family apart by not marrying him. Minutes later, my brother arrived, furious. He grabbed my things, expressed his disappointment and disgust, and we went outside to his car. My dad and husband arrived shortly after. I was sobbing, and my brother kept apologizing. I emailed everyone except Mom, with my lawyer's contact info, stating I no longer wish to be contacted. I also warned that any further contact would involve the police. No one has contacted me since, but I know from my dad that my mom and sister are frantic. They hope to repair things, and for my sister to be involved in my baby's life, maybe even as a godmother. My dad is staying with my brother, and while they support me, some family members do not. Mutual friends have reached out, concerned because my sister now claims my husband is keeping me from my family. I posted publicly on Facebook about the situation. My sister Bill and ex are being dragged, which, though not fully intended, I feel is deserved. Background: I dated my brother's best friend from age 16 until high school graduation. I rejected his proposal, leading to family drama. My relationship with my brother suffered, and with my sister, it never recovered. My sister, who is now 32, pushed for me to reunite with my ex, and became unbearable when she started dating his brother. I asked my parents to intervene, and while my brother backed off, my sister continued. It all ended when I met my husband abroad. My family was happy except my sister, who insisted I was in a honeymoon phase. After many fights, I warned her that any more interference would end our relationship. She tried to manipulate my wedding, setting one of her friends to flirt with my husband. I left the party and cut off all contact with her, maintaining no communication in the 6 years since. My sister has tried everything to reconcile, from gifts to tantrums, but I refuse to speak to her. At family events, I act like she doesn't exist. Initially, she made snarky comments and tried to create drama, but no one supported her, so she gave up. She had a meltdown when she learned she was invited to my wedding, but wouldn't be involved in preparations. My brother feels guilty for going along with it, and his relationship with my ex has suffered. They still talk, but aren't close. Update on my family. I spoke with my mother, but she insists she knows best and calls me a bad person. She even claims she will seek grandparents' rights or custody of my child. My dad moved out, saying he couldn't support her harassment. My brother and his wife also distanced themselves. My husband advised them to consider what they truly valued and to be kind, but he refused to raise our child in a toxic environment. My husband is heartbroken and says my mom will get nothing from him as a form of revenge. He and my sister-in-law explained my mom's inappropriate behavior to my mother-in-law. My dad and brother keep apologizing for their roles and support me, ready to help fight any battles with my mom or sister. Update 2. My brother and his wife told my nephews that Grandma was ill and tried to harm Auntie and the baby. The kids were also informed that the other aunt was no longer in their lives, not because of me, but due to her behavior. My mom lost it, claiming she had rights to see her grandchildren. My dad is looking for a new place, but is staying with us until January. He's contacted divorce lawyers and moved his bank stuff. He's received countless messages from my mom, but hasn't replied. His lawyer advised him not to block her for now. A few days after my last post, my mom and sister showed up at my house. The cleaning lady let them in, and when I arrived, I called my relatives. My sister-in-law confronted them and threatened to call the police if they didn't leave. They left, but I felt bad. The doctor advised me to relax to avoid harming the baby. My dad, brother, uncle, and husband took everything from the house. My sister screamed at my dad, accusing him of destroying her family. He told them they nearly harmed the baby and didn't want to talk to them again. My sister has sent desperate messages to my brother, but he isn't responding. I'm devastated for my nephew, who is losing so much due to my sister's actions. Regarding custody, my lawyer sent my mom a letter stating she caused harm, and if she continues to harass me, it will become a legal matter. Both my mom and sister have refused therapy. I'll focus on spending the holidays with my family, staying healthy, and attending therapy. Update 3. We, including my brother, husband, dad, and my husband's family, changed our numbers, got new electronics, and notified employers, friends, and the police. We also started individual and family therapy. My dad and brother feel extreme guilt, though I have truly forgiven them, and we're healing together. My sister and mom refuse therapy and insist they're not wrong. My dad updated his will. My sister's son gets a trust fund and some inheritance, but my sister only receives a token amount. My dad is fully done with her. I initially felt bad for my sister, but decided to focus on my baby. Despite my mom's absence, we've been blessed with surprising support from friends and family. To protect ourselves, we tested people by saying I was in labor, which helped us identify who was still leaking information to my mom and sister. We cut those people out, and the rest understood our reasoning. My ex, whom my friends now call Bates, claimed the baby was his due to an alleged affair. No one believed him, but it led my husband to contact Bates's employer, resulting in Bates being suspended pending an internal review. We're optimistic he'll be fired, as the company seems apologetic. My mom has been trying to find us, but everyone who knows our location has gone no contact with her. My dad's lawyer sent her a letter stating that all communication will now go through lawyers due to her instability. I feel awful for my dad being alone, but he's been an excellent babysitter and caregiver. He's even seen my sister's son after she threatened self-harm if my husband didn't stop alienating her family. My dad's email about seeing her son and potential police involvement seems to have stopped those threats. Regarding Bates, I never gave him false hope. I was uncomfortable with him for years, and after meeting my husband, I spent a long time fighting my sister. I married after my sister had a long engagement. I still love my mom and sister, but prioritize a healthy life for my family. Update 4. We've moved into a new house, with my dad in the guest house. We still rent out the old place and are deciding what to do next. My dad sees the grandchildren about 3 times a week, and is now seeing my sister's kids separately due to her refusal to let him visit unless she knows his address. My mom complains to the lawyers about the unfairness, but there's nothing she can do. About a month ago, my dad confessed he's been paying for my nephew's schooling and babysitting, which is why my sister allows him to see him. He felt guilty for keeping it a secret, but I assured him it was fine. On Mother's Day, my dad received an email with a video on Instagram depicting my mom as abandoned and my sister as a saint. It was pathetic and enraging, so I forwarded it to the lawyer. My dad officially filed for divorce in May, and the process is ongoing. My mom insists he's wrong, but my dad would rather drink bleach than reconcile with her. Update 5. My brother and husband took my dad out for Father's Day, and they had a blast. They blocked my sister's many posts that day to keep the focus on dad's enjoyment. They also did a fun camping trip, staying in a hotel suite with a tent set up for the kids and a little teepee for the baby. Having the baby has been incredible, and seeing my husband be the amazing father I knew he'd be bringing me so much joy. Though tiring, the support we have is overwhelming, and I'm grateful for my solid support system. The kids are loving the new experiences, feeling protective of the baby, and enjoying age-appropriate activities. My mother-in-law also loves spending time with the baby, staying over once a week. She's respectful and understanding, which makes me feel heard. I've had moments of sadness, missing the mom I thought I had, but my therapist advises focusing on the positive. Bates was terminated, and his reputation in his industry was severely damaged. His brother's reputation also suffered, but Bates is still employed elsewhere due to less stringent industry standards. Bates sent me a lengthy letter about his hurt feelings, which my lawyer summarized. Bates's ex moved away and he didn't care, showing his disregard for his own children. He's now living back with his mother. My parents are divorced now. My mom kept the house and received a bulk payment, but nothing more. My dad is thriving and dating a lovely woman who owns a nail salon. My mom was outraged by this new relationship, calling it a midlife crisis. She's struggling financially and with budgeting, and my sister is also facing difficulties since my dad no longer helps her financially. My dad's relationship with my nephew deteriorated when my nephew made hurtful comments about my baby. My dad decided to cut them off until things changed. My nephew now attends public school. Bates, still unemployed, has sent me 2 more long, rambling letters. A random woman at the grocery store accused me of hurting Bates, claiming he's still spreading the false narrative about my baby. It turned out my dad's 2 sisters were feeding info to my mom, leading to their estrangement. Update 6. My brother's family is doing well, and we see them often. They are also no contact with my mom and sister, which my mother-in-law is happy about. She now babysits overnight and enjoys having all her grandchildren together. She made her socials private due to my mom's stalking. My husband and I are considering having another child or adopting, but haven't decided yet. We have a strong support system and the ability to have these conversations. I still miss my mom, especially during milestones I can no longer share with her. But my family's safety and well-being are my priorities. Father's Day camping went well, aside from a few mosquito bites and sunburns.